Ark Survival Evolved is one of those games that simply transports you to an adventure in a world full of wonders. That is, if you have a good PC. For a long time I struggled to make this game run in my secondary machines. Not always I have a powerful PC to play in hand, and mobile doesn't quite do it. Well, I got tired and decided to put my programming skills to practice to make the low-poly Ark project. I welcome you to the third episode of this journey. In today's episode we will make a way for the player to gain experience. Also, by the end, we will be able to see informations about the animals just by looking at them. The player root is a class that is going to keep track of the experience and achievements of the player. Inside, this class holds a struct named player info. It keeps all that data in one place. In the implementation of the player root class, I used a code pattern called singleton. Using a singleton we tell the system that we only gonna have one instance of this class running at any given time. The advantage here is that its public methods will be accessible throughout the system. In the future I can easily get the global reference of the player root singleton instance and accessing its public and static methods to add experience, for example. Much in the same way of Ark Survival Evolved, I want the player to gain passive experience, so I implemented it as well. Initially, it will be 0.01 points of experience per second. Not much, but this is leveling up for free after all. After some coding, here is the idle XP and levels working. And about leveling up, I got back to my days of middle school and remembered a program that I used to play with a lot. The RPG Maker. Playing with this program taught me a lot about the struggles of creating a game. One of the things that remained in my mind was how the character stats progression was made. It has to do not only with the increment of stats level by level, but also how should the values be modified along the way. Let me try to explain. Let's say we start with 100 points of health at level 1. The max level is, let's say, 10, and we end up with 1000 health. From the starting of the game up to the end, we can have a constant progression of the health maximum value. But another way to approach this is using curves, non-linear progressions. This way, we can decide to make it easier for beginners by increasing the progression on initial levels. Or maybe make them suffer a little first and leave the bigger rewards to the endgame. In the end, we will have the same amount of health, we just spreaded them differently along the gameplay. And this technique doesn't apply only for health, but to all kinds of indicators that we want to make more dynamic. The stats will all vary differently considering the level that the character is in a given moment. I decided to have a look at various of those curves in RPG Maker and take some notes. With all set up, every time the experience value crosses the threshold of the current level, the system knows it has to upgrade the character's stats and set their correct maximum values for that new level. Now that I have the current values of the stats for each level, when it gets updated, I can monitor changes using Unity's built-in image component. The way we can do this is by controlling the fill amount property of the image component. It varies from 0 to 1. 0 being totally empty and 1 being totally full. Before I went to bed that day, I decided to make a last hour addition. I assigned random levels to the chickens and made a word canvas object that I could make into a prefab. Every fixed update frame I can check if I'm looking at an animal and get information about it. Then it's just a matter of instantiating the canvas prefab and placing it at the animal's position. Next episode we will tackle the issue with those digital chickens. They are too courageous now. See, they should be aware of terrible predators, such as me. If you watched until here you will probably like the content I'll be making in the future. Consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel and activate the bell. That way you won't miss new updates. Also, if you want to help the channel, need more content,
ou conteúdo em português,
check the links in the description. See you in the next one.